Hey everyone and welcome. Melissa here from Endo Empowered, and today I want to talk about endometriosis cysts, but in particular I want to talk about endometriomas, which are a type of cyst that is typically formed when you have endometriosis. So what we're going to do is I'm going to dive into some of the kind of thoughts around this, what may be triggering this, and give you some potential solutions as well. Okay, so we're going to jump over to my iPad. All right. So the first thing, I guess, is really looking at what a endometrioma is. So just going to do our basic little scribble of a woman's reproductive organs. So we have these ovaries on either side, and endometriosis typically settles inside of the abdominal cavity and sort of scatters itself all around that cavity. Now, when you have an endometrioma, it generally settles on the ovary itself. And what it is actually a little pocket that is filled with old blood. So basically, all the blood that would normally settle inside of the abdominal area is now settling in a little pocket on top of the ovary. Now, the reason doctors get concerned with this is that this endometrioma can get quite large. And so the potential for it to burst is there, and therefore when it bursts, it will, leave all of those insides inside of the abdominal area, and it is incredibly painful. Now, the thing here that I want to look at is really a natural approach of addressing this endometrioma, because over the years I have been able to treat endometriomas for women with this and without the need for surgery. Now, with surgery, every single time you have surgery, you are going to create adhesions inside of the body. These are like inside scars. And those inside scars, unfortunately, cause organs to stick to each other. So this is where the ovary might stick to the fallopian tube. You might get an ovary stuck to the bowel, any number of things. And this is where a lot of pain can come from. So a lot of women experience a lot of pain from the adhesions, not necessarily the endometriosis cells that are dispersing all over the place. And obviously adhesions and surgery bring with it inflammation, which is counterintuitive when you have endometriosis, as this is an inflammatory condition. So getting back to our endometrioma. Now, when you think about endometrioma, this is basically a little pocket filled with blood and essentially waste products. So your body is gone, I've got a whole lot of old waste, old blood sitting around this area. I don't quite know what to do with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it into this little pocket and I'll deal with it later. Now, this tells us a couple of things. Firstly, it tells us that there is a lot of waste sitting in your abdominal area. Okay, so that's one of the things it tells us. Secondly, there is a question of an emotional connection to this. So things that you haven't dealt with from an emotional perspective. So if you think about this, from an emotional perspective, you've got two ovaries, one on the left and one on the right. Now, typically emotions that relate to a female figure tend to be on the left. So this is a female figure in your life. It could be your mother, it could be a female boss, any strong figure in your life tends to be on the left-hand side. And if your cysts tend to form on the left-hand side, it is something to consider. What is the emotional baggage, or what is the toxic relationship of that you are holding on to? So it's a different type of toxin, but it's still a toxic form, something that is affecting your health, your ability. So toxic emotions on that, toxic thoughts, generally related to feelings of anger, shame, resentment, those kinds of feelings. On the right-hand side tends to be a male figure. So this could be a male boss, it could be, unfortunately, it could be your husband or your partner, people who bring up these kinds of emotions. It's not to say that you've got to get rid of those people. Sometimes you don't have a choice not to be around those people. It's more around how you deal with those emotions and addressing the toxic side of those emotions. So if you're feeling anger, releasing that anger. If you've got shame around something, maybe even talking to the person if that is an opportunity. But this is a way of your body storing that, and particularly relating to a female feeling. So feelings around creativity, feelings around, your personality being stumped in some way. Think of basically things like believing that you can't do something because you're a woman. So these are often things that will come up for women who have these cysts. So what we're going to look at is these two areas. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to endometriosis. There's a lot more to endometriomas. These are just two aspects of endometriomas that we're going to be addressing today. So I don't want you to think that this is all there is to it, because it doesn't explain why there is inflammation in your body. So that's a whole nother topic. So when we look at these two criteria, so the waste and the emotional toxicity of our emotions sitting in those areas, what we want to look at is, firstly, what is the reason for this accumulation of waste? So, I don't know how to spell accumulation. Let's try waste. Okay, so we're just going to look at the accumulation of waste in that area. So, firstly, there is low circulation. So, this could be because you're just circulation, there is just not enough blood flow to the area. And in Chinese medicine, they describe endometriosis as a blood stagnation. So basically, there is low blood flow through the area. Now, this could be just because you're not exercising, or you're not exercising in a way that stimulates blood flow to the abdominal area. So we really want to be exercising into that abdominal area. Okay. The other side of it is that you have got poor lymphatic flow to the area. Okay, so when I talk about lymphatics, I'm talking about a system in the body called the lymphatic system, and its sole job is to remove waste. So that is its job. It's kind of like your sewage system through your body, and its job is to kind of gather all that waste and then, run it out of the body. So when you have poor lymphatic flow, the accumulation of those cysts will be heightened. So what you want to do is increase that lymphatic flow. And Mangister is one of the fabulous herbs that can do that for you. The other one is nettle. You want to look at depuratives. So these are the kinds of herbs you want to look at. My favorite one is actually chickweed. Okay, so these are some of the ideas of how you can help reduce that waste accumulation in the abdominal area. Now, castor oil packs are a great way to do that. So castor oil packs is basically getting castor oil, placing it on the abdomen, and then allowing that to sit on the abdomen, and it absorbs into the abdomen, and that helps your body get rid of the waste products in that area. So I have got a video on how to do a castor oil pack, so if you wanted to know exactly how to do that, there is a video on that on my YouTube channel. All right, so now we look at the emotional component of a cyst. So if we're looking back at this and we've got our left hand side, mother figure or female figure. Now what I would be looking at here is really how you as a woman have been stumped in some way. Maybe your creativity, maybe your personality, maybe it's not being fully accepted for who you are. Maybe it's a thing of being told that you should have been a boy. Those kinds of feelings often come up, or your creativity is stumped in some way. So creativity is very much a female tendency that we have, and so sometimes that can be stumped in some way. So maybe you're just not being creative enough, and maybe you're not expressing yourself enough in your life. So this is where I encourage women to pursue things that they used to do perhaps as a child, playing a musical instrument, doing painting, drawing, anything like that has got a creative aspect to it, and not doing it for the sake of achieving something, but merely doing it for the pleasure of it. Okay, and so then we look at the right side, and we've got the male figure or the dad figure. Now this could be related to a boss, this could be related to your dad, this could be related to a husband. Now what we're looking at here is a very similar feeling, so maybe, your womanhood being stumped in some way, but more from an aspect of feeling like you need to actually be like a man. So this is where I see women often being tough, trying to be stronger, having an idea that they need to be like a man, those kinds of things. So if this is something that you experience, or you tend to get things on the right hand side of your body, my recommendation is actually to tap into more of that feminine energy. So looking at, things like maybe even getting a dog, having something to look after, finding somebody who maybe needs love and care so that you can express those female tendencies. So this is really about looking at not pushing, but loving on yourself, so stopping the pushing need. This is very much a male tendency, is to push and to drive and to get up and force ourselves to do things. What we want to do is really just accept and work from an attraction energy. So believing that the right things will come to us when they're ready, and that we're going to put it out there and it'll come to us. So it's a very different energy. And so when you have this male energy, one tends to also have a lot of fatigue. There's a lot of fatigue associated with this with women who have this, because you're pushing, you're forcing, you're thinking that if you just stick to a to-do list, then maybe you will get things done. And so this type of energy is very exhausting. The emotional on the mother side, it tends to be more of a feeling of not enough, not feeling enough, not feeling good enough, that kind of thing. So I hope this gives you guys a little bit of an insight on endometriomas. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than what I can share in this quick video. But the key thing is really to look at these two areas and recognizing that when there is an accumulation of waste in that area, it is really about encouraging that lymphatic flow. So you can look at other things like acupuncture, that really is helpful, and looking at tools that really support this lymphatic flow in the area. Now, if you guys have any questions on this, if there's anything that I haven't covered, if you're not sure what to do, I know sometimes we think we need to go for surgery. I really encourage you to explore some of these ideas. Dive into some of the ways that you can cleanse your body, because these are essentially, this is waste. Now, why is there waste in the body? We need to look at why is there waste in the body and address that. Look at ways that you can flush that out. So how do you flush out that excess waste in the body? So this is really looking at, the digestive system. How well is that functioning? Looking at your liver health. How well is that functioning? Looking at your diet and things that you're eating that maybe aren't so good for you, and looking at, well, how can you reduce the amount of waste in your body? And that means looking at eating your antioxidants. So what are those? Well, those are your fruits and veggies, very simple, but that's where your body is able to cleanse. That's where your body is able to get rid of waste. So I hope that gives you guys some insights. I am very excited to share these videos with you. I, really encourage you to explore these natural approaches before you opt for surgery. There is always a way. There is always a way. Your body has put it there. Your body can unput it there. It's just a case of working with your body, understanding what's going on, and really addressing this at the root cause. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to leave me a comment. If you like these videos, like them. And if you want to join our next program, we're opening again in March. This is an application-only option, so you need to just register. Head over to endoempower.com/soon, because it's just around the corner, and look forward to sharing more with you about that soon. Okay, talk next week. Bye.